It's the classic Bond adventure, James Bond at a nightclub rejected by women because no one believes he's James Bond. They're like, "Who are you? You're not George Lazenby, get out of here." Well, an already furious Bond is left standing at the bar like droids in Mos Eisley, unserved and really angry. So finally they decide to serve him cheap vodka infused with fake lime, which sends the secret agent over the edge into Siberia to find and kill the makers of such an atrocity. But what he doesn't realize is that while shuffling through the snow, the iPod in his pocket is unlocked and accidentally sends the pictures of a Russian mob boss's girlfriend's butt that he took at the nightclub to Facebook while leaving the location data on so they can track him down and try to kill Bond with a helicopter filled with unused Goldeneye VHS cassettes. And the story begins Goldeneye 007 on the Nintendo Wii. As gamers, playing on the most unlikely of adventures, as it turns out that the whole scheme was set in motion by a group called Spectrosity, comprised of the writers of every James Bond film produced since The Living Daylights, with the exception of Casino Royale. Can Daniel Craig stop Spectrosity and bring honor back to the Bond franchise, while also clearing his name from being in Quantum of Solace, which frankly made Moonraker look like Lawrence of Arabia? Spectrosity, just the name sends chills down my spine, and they're well funded. They have bad guys everywhere in this game that you'll slaughter with a variety of weapons as James Bond, an unstoppable killing machine. Can he regain his honor and defeat this horrible organization which managed to train wreck the greatest film franchise of all time? Well, I wish that was actually the plot of this game, and I also wish somebody would hire me to write the next Bond film, because I would just mix it with Star Wars. Chewie sets him up, Bond knocks him down. From Alderaan with love, bitch. Now, Goldeneye 007 is basically a reworking of the classic Goldeneye 007 shooter for N64, based on Goldeneye the movie, which would have been better had somebody been eaten by sharks in that film. Even though Pierce Brosnan actually played Bond in the movie, Daniel Craig and Judi Dench both lend their voices to characters in this game, giving it added credibility.
How'd you know?
I gave him the scar.
I first got a glimpse of this game at E3 2010 during the Nintendo press conference when everybody was really excited about the new Metroid game and Kirby, and I'm like, whatever, Goldeneye, there's a new Goldeneye, because it really is the best James Bond game. And one of the most memorable shooters of all time, especially if you grew up in that era when shooters were new. Goldeneye was the first one I remember being playable and fun on a game console, and it was amazing for multiplayer. It still is. Goldeneye remains a playable game to this day. So the new Goldeneye has big shoes to fill, and it does it really well. I'm very impressed with this game. While it may not have the sharp, crisp visual style that shooters on the 360 or PS3 have, Goldeneye remains exceptionally playable and fun. In fact, it's far better than many of the mediocre clone shooters on the PS3 or 360. Better hardware doesn't necessarily make for a better game, because the developers managed to squeeze every bit of performance out of this thing, while paying homage to the original Goldeneye game and making it fun and entertaining all at the same time. Excellent level design, lots of weapons to choose from, and the multiplayer works just as well as the original, where you can play with that split-screen style that so many of us remember from back in the 90s. I would consider this to be the second best game on the Wii, the first being Mario Kart. I mean, you don't top Mario Kart. Unless you give it flamethrowers, but that's not likely to happen. You don't need to have played the original to enjoy this one. Fans of shooters should enjoy Goldeneye. It's well made. It's fast and responsive when played with the excellent Classic Controller Pro, which is basically a PlayStation 2 controller. And the online multiplayer is far superior to many of the other big-budget shooters out there. If you're like me and you can't stand being sniped in the head instantly or hit by a cruise missile, then you might enjoy GoldenEye multiplayer a lot, because it's actually playable. The entire package, this whole game, everything from the single-player campaign to the multiplayer, has more of an old-school GoldenEye or Time Splitters feel to it. It even has a visual style reminiscent of the N64 classic. And this game is proof that a post-Cold War Bond can live on in video games. Never say never again to James Bond.